Hello, friends. This is Coldrun. Welcome back to Elden Ring. Uh, you'll see I'm not in game right now because I've been meaning to do this for a while, and coming back to the game after having finished up Resident Evil, this feels like a good time to do it. I just wanted to look back at the opening cinematic now that I have some more context for what's going on, because I understood pretty much nothing beyond that the voice actor was pretty good. So I'm hoping, especially in the, I was thinking about this especially because I was in the Black Knife Catacombs and that rang a bell, but I don't remember what kind of bell. So this is on YouTube, and let's see. Oh, I'm gonna pause as we go, but yeah, here we go. From Rajman Gaming.
The fallen leaves tell a story. The great Elden Ring was shattered.
So there were gods, there were gods or godlike beings, and the Elden Ring was a physical ring that was, I'm guessing it was just very powerful, and they broke it, and whoever. So if it was a single ring that was shattered, does that mean that there was only the power would belong to one person, basically? That there was one person who was the ring bearer, one Sauron, ring wearer who controlled everything? I don't know. And if so, how was the ring taken from them? Or if they shattered it voluntarily, why did they? Just thinking out loud.
In our home, across the fog, the lands between.
So the lands between the person speaking is not one of the gods, then, I'm guessing. This is, and they're not in the divine realm anymore. This is like the Elden Ring was up on Valhalla, and here they are on Earth. The lands between are like the normal people lands, right?
Now, Queen Marika the Eternal is nowhere to be found.
So Queen Marika the Eternal, was she the person who had the ring, who was like the supreme ruler? And then something happened, because right now in this particular pose, it looks as if she's being, I mean, it's like a crucifixion pose. It's, it's like that sort of thing. And but I don't know that that's actually what's happening. Like, I don't know that she's actually been imprisoned or captured or anything, because I don't see manacles or anything like that. That's just the pose that she's in. But she's gone.
Is nowhere to be found. And in the night of the Black
Here we go.
Godwyn the Golden was first to perish.
The night of the Black Knives, Godwyn the Golden was first to perish. So the Night of the Black Knives. So Black Knife, these are all Black Knife assassins. And one of the things I got in the Black Knife Catacombs was a Black Knife imprint, something like that. And that, it looks like what is on his back here is a Black Knife imprint. I mean, it may be a Black Knife, because it looks like it's not just like the scar left by the Black Knife. There's something mystical about that imprint. Yeah, there's something mystical about that imprint. I'm also going to be writing this down. So we got Queen Marika the Eternal. So Queen Marika the Eternal and Godwyn the Golden, first to perish on the Night of the Black Knives. So the Black Knives are other gods who were assassins. And this is all after the Elden Ring was shattered. And so maybe they didn't have the same power they had. But again, I see the imprint they have. I see the imprint that looks basically like the knife itself, that kind of jagged, two sticks looking out of it, but the imprint has like branches going even farther, kind of a tree theme. And Godwin, I don't remember who Godwin was. Like whether I know there's also the person in the basement of not the basement, in the lower part of Stormvale Castle, who was that face that Rogier approached and got like ripped apart as he approached it. There was that face that belonged to some god who I don't remember. I'll have to go back and check that. But maybe that was Godwin the Golden. And it also says first to perish, so others perished as well.
Godwin the Golden was first to perish. Soon, Marika's offspring, demigods all.
Okay, so this is the witch. I'm forgetting her name again already. This is Marika's offspring, demigods all, claim the shards of the Elden Ring. So this is one of those offspring. So this is the one who's trying to overturn death, who now I'm sworn to. I don't remember her name, but that's her. We got witch woman, offspring of Marika, and a demigod.
Marika's offspring, demigods all, claimed the shards of the Elden Ring.
So this is another thing. The red hair below. Is this Margit? Is this Margit the Fell Omen? He has that club, that like crook. And he has that same sort of appearance. I think this might be Margit the Fell Omen. And I don't know who's on the bottom here. But there's only Raudon is the redhead I know. Or at least it's like I think he's the redhead. He's the one who's like the Red Wolf, Raudon the Red Wolf, the one who was married to Renala the Moon Queen. But that's just like law of conservation of characters. I know one character with red hair, so I'm assuming that's it, but it could well be someone else.
The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering.
So, okay, never mind. So, wait. Hold on a sec. So, the Great Elden Ring was shattered.
The lands. Elden.
The shattering is different from... Because I thought the timeline then was that there were the gods, Marika and her peoples. The Elden Ring was shattered. And then everyone was like... all the kids were like scrambling to grab pieces of that. All the demigod kids were scrambling to grab pieces of the Elden Ring, like shards here and there, to get power for themselves. But them grabbing power caused the shattering, which is different from when the Elden Ring was shattered.
The mad taint.
Yeah, that's later.
Their newfound strength triggered the shattering.
The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. The mad taint. So something about them grabbing for power corrupted them. I mean, that's not shocking. I mean, that's how power works. But it seems like almost like a more immediate mystical kind of thing. But maybe not. It could just be their strife caused this, like as a result of their strife, like they fought so much that it broke something.
A war from which no lord arose.
So we got, this is another redhead. I think this is a woman. So we got Raudon, and we got her. So we got two people with red hair. And this redhead who has a sword whose length puts Sephiroth's to shame is getting faced down by some titanic ogre beastie thing. Maybe one of those things that we always see as like with the holes in their chest. This has got to be one of those trolls, but like almost in its prime. Because we see these enemies all over the enemies on the right. I mean, we see them all over the place, but usually they're like, we see them yoked together, like pulling carts. We see them with giant holes in their chests where like something was ripped out. And so this must be before that, or this is just one in their prime, or this is something, because there's also the giants, like the actual giants on the Fire Mountain in the north that I've heard about but haven't gotten to. So maybe this is one of them.
A war leading to abandonment by the greater will.
The greater will is another thing. So let me go back a bit here.
Elden Ring. Marika claimed the shards of the Elden Ring. The mad taint of their newfound strength triggered the shattering. A war from which no lord arose.
Right, so there was a fight for power, but no one came out on top.
A war leading to abandonment by the greater will.
So the war led to abandonment by the greater will. So the greater will is different than Queen Marika the Eternal, presumably. So there's a couple of competing top tier powers then maybe. So the greater will is part of it. And the greater will, I think, is the two fingers. I don't know why I just did that. But yeah, it's because it's through two fingers. The greater will, I'm guessing, is the two fingers.
Oh, rise now.
Wait, so this is someone, arise now ye tarnished, this is someone opening up some coffins. This is the person who's speaking, I think. This, whoever we're seeing here, I think this is the person speaking.
Ye tarnished, ye dead, who yet live.
All right, so because I don't really have a good sense of who the tarnished are. So let's see if we can get into this. So tarnished are dead who yet live. I'm writing this down just in case. I don't know. Dead who yet live. So undead, but I don't, but not necessarily, I mean, I guess, I don't know if they're resurrected or undead or how they came to be raised or whatever, but yeah. Oh, never mind. That's a statue. That's not an actual, I thought that was the person like beseeching them, but I think it's the statue watching over the sarcophagi.
The call of long lost grace speaks to us all.
The call of long lost grace speaks to us all. The call of long lost grace speaks to us all. So the grace that was lost has got, I mean, what in the story so far is long lost at this point? It's the central Elden, whatever central power was contained by the Elden Ring before it was shattered, maybe. And it was shattered and that grace was lost, but there's some whisper of it, and that's what this person is saying calls to the tarnished, maybe. Just a theory. Or an interpretation of what he's trying to say. So these are all, because when I first heard this I remember very specifically. I remember hearing this and thinking that they were talking about, they were introducing bosses the way that they often do in the Souls games. You know, that they were introducing, you know, the Watchers of the Abyss and, Yorm the Giant. Like, usually they do this boss role here, but that doesn't seem to be what they're doing now. Horalu, Chieftain of the Badlands, or if it is, this is not a boss we fought, and we know Nefelilu. So, and the way that this is being set up is not like that these are the lords who we have to take down. These is being set up as these are the tarnished who are like leading our cause, of which I am one. So Horalu, Chieftain of the Badlands, Nefelilu's father, maybe? And these are the dead, because we see them, like Horalu had an arrow sticking out of him. He's a friggin', oh yeah, the arrow is not the important thing. The titanic sword cutting through his torso is the thing I probably should have noticed first. And there's a lion behind him for some reason, but he's got, so these are all people who die. Like, this is who's being raised as a tarnished, I don't know if he's being raised, but he is a tarnished, whether he's being raised right now or not.
Horalu, Chieftain of the Badlands.
Right. The ever-brilliant gold mask, then, is another tarnished. What is this showing? This is... What am I looking at in front of the ever-brilliant gold? So you got a book on the left side here. He's definitely dead, or he was dead or undead or whatever. This is him in his dying or dead position. He's got a book. I see 3 rings on it. And I see what's in front of his face. It's like, it's a pot. Was he poisoned? Am I supposed to interpret that he drank something and was poisoned? Maybe?
The ever-brilliant gold mask. Fear, the deathbed companion.
Thea, the deathbed companion? She was in this opening role? Because she's right now at Round Table Hold. She's the one who sent me to get she's the one at Round Table Hold. She's the one who was in contact with Rogier, who was like speaking on his behalf because he's pretty much dead at this point. And she was sending me to... She's the one who sent me to the Black Knife Catacombs to get proof of something. So she's one of the tarnished... Okay. Yep, so that makes sense. That Round Table of Hold is where the tarnished HQ, and so she's there helping out. But she doesn't look dead here. She looks like she's smoking a cigarette, like just having, been the bed companion with this crowned dead body in some kind of skull-laden sarcophagus or something. The loathsome dung eater. So this is someone I really thought was going to be a boss, but no, the loathsome dung eater apparently is going to be one of our buddies. He's going to be on Team Tarnished. And here is another one where he's being hung. This is him actually dying. The Fia the Deathbed Companion is the only one in this group who doesn't seem like she's actually dying. I also see that point of what looks like a point of grace right in front of her that she's looking at. So this is the guy who's, and you even see here, you don't really, well, you don't, it looks like it's just a hollowed out corpse here. Long dead. Wait, I see the golden light coming from him. Is that present in all of them? Yeah, so I see the point of grace or something of grace just above the arrow, or Horaloo. I see the point of... I didn't... Yeah, okay, now I see it. I see the point of grace in front of Gold Mask. Just between... About halfway between his arm and that pot of gold. I see the point of grace there that Fia's looking at. And see the point of grace on the Dung Eater's chest. And the point of grace coming out of Sir Gideon Ofnir. Who is the adoptive father of Nefelilu. Those are the people that this person is saying, arise now. Arise, ye tarnished, and they are all tarnished.
And one other, whom grace would again bless.
So this is all whom grace would again bless. So I've been blessed before. All these people have been blessed by grace before, and now we're being blessed again.
A tarnished of no renown.
Hit me.
Cross the fog to the lands between.
Cross the fog to the lands between. So we didn't start in the lands between. We started somewhere else. I don't know what to do with that piece of information, but we weren't originally in this world. We were originally from somewhere else. From wherever the realm of the gods or whatever the other realm is. We had to move to the lands between.
To stand before the Elden Ring.
The Elden Ring, to stand before the Elden Ring. So I'm getting the sense the Elden Ring is a thing that has multiple meanings. That there was the actual Elden Ring, like a ring, like an actual physical ring, that was shattered. But maybe it was also something else. It was also like it became something else. Because stand before the Elden Ring, you wouldn't stand before just like a piece of, like a jewelry, a piece of jewelry. And this person wants me, or one of these others. If they want Fia to become the Elden Lord, they want someone to become the Elden Lord. Why? I don't know. I'm back at Round Table Hold, and I want to talk to Sir Gideon. What was that? I don't know. I want to talk to Sir Gideon Ofnir the All-Knowing to put some of that in context, what we just heard about. But also, so Prince of Death's pustule was what? It said that this pustule came from the visage of the Prince of Death who used to be called Godwyn. Yes, so this is the guy who's buried deep... Wait, it said he's buried deep under the capital at the Erdtree's root. So this is not... what we saw in the basement of Castle Stormvale, or Stormvale Castle, whatever, Castle Stormvale? I don't remember what it's called, but what we saw in the basement there wasn't the actual Godwyn. He's buried in the capital that we've heard about, which is somewhere else. At the Erdtree's roots, which is somewhere else. But we saw his visage that we took from it. I don't know why his visage is beneath Limgrave.
Journey to the capital,
Lanedale.
To the east of the Altus Plateau, at the foot of the Erdtree. The two fingers will deny your passage no longer.
And the two fingers...
may be our best hope. Find your way to the Elden Ring.
So the two fingers have got to be the representation of that overall grace that we've heard about before. All right, let's check Radahn first.
General Radahn, the famed Red Lion and Scourge of the Stars, is a ferocious warrior. He fought Melina and her rot to a standstill in the Caelid Wilds to Limgrave's east. And by my reckoning, Radahn remains there, even now. Though, I doubt he much resembles his former self anymore.
Okay, Radahn. So Radahn is in the Caelid Wilds. Wait, he is in the hold on, let me see that again, sorry.
General Radahn, the famed Red Lion and Scourge of the Stars.
Why is he called the Scourge of the Stars? That's an unusual one outside the MCU.
To a standstill in the Caelid Wilds to Limgrave's east. And by my reckoning, Radahn remains there, even now. Though, I doubt he much resembles his former self anymore.
So Radahn is someone who fought
He fought
Melina and Herat. So General Radahn fought Melina and Herat. So she's okay in the Caelid Wilds. Melina is behind the Scarlet Rot. Okay. Does he have anything to say about Melina? He does not. Okay, so she's not mentioned here. I'm not sure why. I don't remember what these all have to do with each other. Let's go with Ensha next.
Ah, yes. By way of apology.
Oh, Ensha was the...
To tender some advice in regard
Yeah.
to the half of the secret medallion you possess. Find the Albinoric woman. She hides in a cave to the west of the Laskia ruins, which jut from the mist-shrouded lake of Liurnia. She knows the location of the medallion's counterpart, I'm sure.
This is something new that I had missed before, I guess. So, Ensha was the person here who attacked me, who was like watching, who was like your bodyguard or something. The medallion I got was the half of the Halig tree. There's an Erd tree and a Halig tree. I don't know what the difference is or what they really are. I have the left half of an Erd tree medallion and the right half of a Halig tree medallion. They'll grant me passage to somewhere.
Find the Albinoric woman.
Find the Albinoric woman.
She hides in a cave to the west of the Laskia ruins, which jut from the mist-shrouded lake of Liurnia. She knows the location of the medallion's counterpart, I'm sure.
The Laskia ruins jut from a mist-shrouded lake. Is this... because it's not the... it can't be this thing, I don't think. Was there... It could be this. It could very well be this. I mean, if actually, it's probably this thing. This is probably where I'll find that Albinoric woman. All right, on with the roster. We got Godric.
So, Godric the Grafted, Lord of Stormvale.
Right, one of the demigods.
Being the blood of Godfrey, first Elden Lord, he's a grotesque old fool grasping for power. His castle lies upon the cliff to Limgrave's northwest. But I suspect you know that well enough already.
So I'm less interested in Godric than in Godfrey. So Godfrey was the first Elden Lord, who is different from... I guess that's... I have no idea what the Elden Lord means in this case. I really don't. I thought it would mean, like, the first among the post-shattering demigods, but I don't know if there is an Elden Lord currently. Right, then Radahn we talked about, the Scourge of the Stars, fighting Melina and her Scarlet Rot. Or fighting or fought? He fought, so that was past tense. And now he's something different. Ricard, who's Ricard? Ricard.
He is a ruthless justiciar who commands a company of inquisitors, reviled for his serpentine demeanor. The volcano, Mount Gelmir, lies in the west of the Altus Plateau, the realm of the Erd Tree. It was the stage of the most appalling battle in the entirety of the Shattering. Rykard has committed the grave sin of blasphemy, marking himself as an enemy never to be forgiven.
So Rykard is a justiciar. Rykard has inquisitors. He's some kind of religious cleric type. And we know that that volcano area that he's talking about, the one that I think is up here by Volcano Manor and all, right? Yeah. We know that this... Oh, in the Inquisition Chamber. This has got to be Rykard's... This is all like... with the Inquisition, when I was taken to Volcano Manor, that had Rykard all over it. Okay. Okay. And if I go to here, well, we'll come back to that. No, let's go here. I'll see you in the... So I want to check out that area. I think that's Mount Gelmir, because we've heard about fire giants being opposed to something, maybe the demigods. So maybe that, if he's there and the fire giants are here, maybe he aligned himself somehow with the fire giants, and that was the blasphemy he committed. So that's what we're going to be dealing with in Mount Gelmir, maybe, eventually? Right, so that's Mount Gelmir. And we're looking to the east at this point. Yeah. Oh, there's another point of grace over there. Let me actually, you know what, while I'm here, let me just get that. Lost grace discovered. Not point of grace, lost grace. That's what they described in the cinematic, is that we hear the lost grace. And this is a site of grace, but to access the site of grace, we discover lost grace. Talk to Melina. Seathwater River. It's been a minute since I talked to Melina. Okay, let's talk to Melina. So Melina was the woman who first gave me Torrent, who looks a lot like the witch whose name I don't remember right now.
The Erd Tree is close, only a little further till the foot of the Erd Tree, and the accord is fulfilled. It takes me back. I was born at the foot of the Erd Tree, where Mother gave me my purpose, though now everything is lost to me. I have to ascertain for myself the reason for which I live, burned and bodiless.
She lives burned and bodiless. Burned like her eye, right? Okay, goodbye, cat. No, don't go away. I want to look closer at you. Ah, dag nabbit. I can't talk to her again. So an ancient accord is what she's seeking out. What is the witch's name? Ronnie. Ronnie is the witch. Renna or Ronnie. She's been called both. Ronnie or Renna. I don't know if they're different sides of her personality or alter egos. So there's her as well. But I'm getting sidetracked here. So this was a sidetrack I was glad to take, though. So she really wants us to get to the... Whatever her role is, she's got to be someone central here. Her mother... Was her mother Queen... Whatever her face is? I'm looking at my little notes here. Was her mother Queen Marika the Eternal, or was her mother Renala the... Because if she's the sister of Ronnie / Renna, then maybe she was... maybe she's related to Renala, or maybe she's Renala's daughter. I don't know. Anyway, back to let me head back to Round Table Hall to continue that Inquisition. He's dead. Rogier is dead. And something, I think it was Hervé Gonin mentioned in the comments, is that you could see Deathroot emerging from him, and now I see that. That's the same thing that came out of me when a basilisk petrified me. Spellblades, traveling attire, gloves, trousers, we got, and his bell bearing. Pointed hat, traveling attire, gloves, trousers, and a letter. Rogier's bell bearing. Yeah. Found upon his perished flesh. I'm kind of bouncing around, but while I was looking for that, I saw the black knife print then. On the night of the black knife, someone stole a fragment of death from Malekith, the Black Blade. So another name. We got Malekith, the Black Blade. So on the night of black knife, someone stole a fragment of death from that person, Malekith, and imbued its power into the assassin's dagger. So without that ritual, without stealing from Malekith, and then they wouldn't have been able to kill the gods. Godwyn and whoever else they killed after that. We don't know. What about this letter? Rogier's letter written in a trembling hand. I forgot to tell you, but it seems Dee has a younger brother. I heard he lies in a deep sleep in the aqueduct beside the eternal city of Nokron. And it said he stood before the Prince of Death not far beyond that spot. The Prince of Death we know is... is someone who is the artist formerly known as Godwyn. But I thought Godwyn... It said he stood before the Prince of Death not far beyond that spot. I thought Godwyn was not in the Eternal City of Nokron, but he was... No, he's saying that he stood before the Prince of Death not far from that spot. Because what's getting me is that the Prince of Death isn't in the Eternal City of Nokron. He's in... we heard he was in the capital. He was in Lanedale. Or buried beneath Lanedale at the foot of the Erd Tree. But they're saying here, Dee has a younger brother. He lies in a deep sleep in the aqueduct beside the Eternal City, and he stood before the Prince of Death not far beyond that spot. Unless that's just a phrase, like maybe he stood before the Prince of Death. Is that something where he died? But I don't want to assume that. Dee, do you have anything to say to this? No, you don't. I was hoping I could ask about your brother, but I cannot. So Malekith is another in this group of M people.
Journey to the capital. The two fingers will you maybe.
All right, now we got two more, Morgott and Renala.
The grace given is Lord of Lanedale, the capital city. It lies at the foot of the Erd Tree, in the east of the Altus Plateau. But the two fingers forbid us from venturing there.
Not me.
Until we've acquired enough great runes to repair the Elden Ring.
So the two fingers want us to repair the Elden Ring. That's why they forbade us from going to the capital, because they wanted us to be able to, or to prove that we wanted to restore the Elden Ring. Okay, and Renala.
The Academy of Rhea Lucaria lies to Renala.
Right.
Is queen of the Carian royals, who govern the academy. And her great rune dwells within the egg she so dearly clutches.
So where does that leave us about what actually are the Great Runes then? Great Rune in this case was an amber egg for Renala. Great Rune of unborn demigods. The other was the Godric's Great Rune, the Anchor Ring, found in the center of the Elden Ring. Oh, that's what these are. These are like pieces of a jigsaw puzzle that we're trying to bring back together. The Great Rune of the Unborn was... So Godric stands at the center of it, but we're just going to have to mash the other pieces like around it. Okay. The first demigods were the Elden Lord Godfrey and his offspring, the Golden Lineage. So these were the kids of Marika the Eternal. Queen, gosh, I'm gonna have to go to my. This is why I wrote this stuff down. Queen Marika the Eternal. Her offspring were demigods, and the first of those demigods were Lord Godfrey and his offspring. The golden lineage. That's like, yeah, the people like Godwyn and way down the line is Godric, but Godwyn was Godric I think was just a crappy brother to Godwyn. I think Godric was like a crappy cousin or brother to Godwyn, but Godwyn was more central. But the first demigods were Lord Godfrey, but there were other demigods that were not of the golden lineage. Okay, they were just the first. Shabriri grape, give to the blind maiden to guide her into the distant light. Have I found a blind maiden yet? Non-rhetorical question, because if it's the sort of thing I would remember probably if I were playing more, but have I met is that someone I just have to go and find? Where did I see a blind maiden? I don't think I've seen one before. I don't think they're... I mean, the finger crones are the opposite. The crone is not a maiden. I don't think the crone is the maiden. I was thinking of going here, but that's where I got the grapes to begin with. Okay. Let's see if Fia has anything to say now that Rogier is dead. This is Queen Marika the Eternal. This statue, this is Queen Marika. This is exactly what we saw in the cinematic just before. Yep. Anyone else here I recognize? Not really. But that statue is 100% Queen Marika the Eternal. And this is Queen Marika the Eternal too. That painting is of Queen Marika the Eternal.
You are so very warm.
May I ask a favor? I thought, so, I mean, everything about her reads that she's, I mean, but I was going to say she reads as undead, as like someone who's like sucking the life from people, who's, or at least trying to stay warm because she's cold, because she's dead. But everyone's undead, right? I'm undead. May I ask a favor?
My dear, might I ask something of you? Could you please find the owner of this dagger and return it to them?
A weathered dagger.
A certain person gave it to me as a gift.
Was it Rogier?
It's a very precious thing. It must have a special place in the owner's heart. So I would like for the original owner to have it back, if you wouldn't mind.
That feels like it could have a double meaning to it. Like that could be, it has a special place in their heart, and so you give it to them by stabbing them in the heart, like you've put it back in the special place in their heart. About the dagger.
I'd like you to find the... It's a very...
Yeah. Something about who was able to steal Fragment of Death from Malekith. Anyway, the weathered dagger. Dagger received from Fia, the deathbed companion. She wishes for it to be returned to its rightful owner. It was once a special weapon of gold and silver intertwined, but is now worn down and marred by a black gash. It's like a pussy sort of... The gash around it is like all pussy. I mean, so a weapon of gold and silver intertwined. Gold is defined by... Again, I don't know how to put these pieces together, but initial thoughts on this. Gold is the sign of, like, the first of the demigods, the line of Godwyn and so on. Those were, like, the golden group. I don't know what silver has to do with that. I think that has to... My guess is that that there was a second line, which was Team Renala. Or at least the line Renala is part of. So you got the sun and the moon, gold and silver. And so that this dagger was maybe some It was once a special weapon of gold and silver intertwined, maybe a symbol of peace among those lines, but now it's like broken and, you know, and I don't know, gross and weathered or something. But it also has that black thing that we associate with pus. Like with the Prince of Death pustule, like that sort of deathiness. Radagon icon. This is where I remember. I'm just going through anything that jumps out at me about the characters we've read about. Radagon icon. A legendary talisman depicting... Wait, no, I'm thinking of Raudon. But I mean, it's... Yeah, this has got to be related. Raudon is the son of Radagon. The person... Okay, all right. A legendary talisman depicting the Elden Lord Radagon. Shortens the casting time of sorceries and incantations. As the husband of Renala of Caria, the red-haired Radagon studied sorcery, and as husband of Queen Marika, he studied incantations. I thought Queen Marika was like the god of gods. I don't know what to make of this, but yeah, he was husband of Marika, and then Marika left, and so he married Renala? I don't know. Raven School Talisman. Raven Mage's Nightmare of the Academy. The primeval current is a forbidden tradition of glintstone sorcery. To those who cleave to its teachings, the act of collecting sorcerers to fashion them into the seeds of stars, despite another path of scientific inquiry. Again, another puzzle piece. I don't know where to put it yet, but this is the second time stars has come up. It's the seeds of stars, and we know that Raudon is the scourge of stars. So Raudon is opposed to this group of Raven School mages, I guess. This is the Blue Dancer charm. The dancer in blue represents a fairy who in legend bestowed a flowing sword upon a blind swordsman. Blade in hand, the swordsman sealed away an ancient god, a god that was rot itself. So, ancient god of rot, or a god that was rot. And we know that, oh, what the hell is that character's name? We know that Melina is related to this, is like tied to the Scarlet Rot. So maybe Melina worships the god of rot. So some kind of tie between this ancient god of rot to Melina. Right, there was the churches of Marika, Queen Marika the Eternal, that we've been to. And yeah, so if we go there, we're going to find that image of her, like, in that not cross position, right? Third Church of Marika. Yep, there she is. Yep, woman from the cutscene. I'm looking also at the ornamental straight sword. After falling from grace, the dregs of the golden lineage sought power and purpose in the past. So the golden lineage is the lineage of Godwyn. And that's their dregs became the likes of Godric and the grafted ones, one of which we got killed to get this. So they're all messed up, but they're trying to still look golden and gorgeous and all. Heavy crossbow's description says, it was a crossbow commonly employed in the Shattering. So that just confirms that the Shattering itself is not when the Elden Ring itself was physically shattered. It is like the War of Succession afterwards, basically, when everyone was scrambling for power. Okay. It's a pretty banal weapon for a war of demigods, but... What is this? Krapus' Blackkey crossbow. This is the crossbow we found in Round Table Hold. Weapon of Krapus. who served the two fingers from the shadows of the round table as the head confessor. It's a sniping crossbow. Why would a head confessor be a sniper? I don't know. And then you have the full moon crossbow. Celebrate the made to celebrate the matrimonial union and reconciliation between the houses of the Erd Tree and the full moon. This has got to be, I mean, because even if you look at this, this is silver and gold in the same way that, this is, I mean, it's a combo of silver and gold. The silver represented Rhea Lucaria and the full moon. The gold represents the Erd Tree and the Golden Peoples. This is, I don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to see if Renala is the wielder, is the owner of that dagger. I don't think she is, but she's so closely tied with that wedding of gold and silver that I'm going to check with her anyway. Yeah, nothing from you.
Be not alarmed, nor afeared.
So I'm going to definitely be on the lookout for Raudon, who is your husband, your ex-husband, I think. And is this person? That's a man. I was thinking it might be Marika at first, but that's a man. That's someone else. This is the last thing I'm going to do today, just because I'm starting to get overwhelmed, and I think I've gotten enough for the moment. The spectral steed whistle, the thing that, wait, what was the name of the? What was the name of the woman who is my sort of finger maid who's not a finger maid? Their names are really close to each other. Melina, this tied to Scarlet Rot, tied to some ancient god of rot, is really close to Melina. I mean, Melina is born at the foot of the Erd Tree. Is that Melina? Yeah, that was Melina. Lives burnt and bodiless. And then Melina is someone different. But, I mean, Godfrey and Godwin it's just how names work in this world. But Melina is the person who looks a lot like Rena or Renala. And Melina is the person who is tied to the god of rot. And tied to the Scarlet Rot somehow. But anyway, so the spectral steed whistle is the whistle that Melina first gave me when she first gave me Torrent. And it's a delicate goldwork ring. So that, and the fact that gold is always tied to the golden lineage, Godwin and all that line. Excuse me. And Melina is related to them because she gave me this gold ring, and she told me just now that she was born at the foot of the Erd Tree. And now she's just kind of a spirit, buried and burned and bodiless. Anyway, that's going to be it for me for now. Sorry that this was just... I'll mark this as kind of a 0.5 episode sort of thing where it's no progress happened in terms of the story. It was just, before I dive back into this game, I really wanted to get at least a snapshot of where I was, of what we've seen, the characters in play, and I'm going to forget them all. So please feel free to remind me if it's stuff that we've absolutely covered and it's not spoilery. But yeah, that's it from me for now. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe if you want to see more, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.